All right, you guys, so let's explain again why is this week so important and so crucial. And I can maybe take this opportunity as well to explain how does it happen? What's the procedure to move from one cycle to another? So I will be talking about, because this is what this question goes towards, that 9-year cycle that we already closed. And I want you to remember that this can be translated into our individual cycles, because the 9-year cycle that we have closed now is a collective cycle, and we're opening collectively a new era for us humans energetically. But every person has an individual 2-year cycle within that we operate on. So, all right. Why is this week so important, and can we stretch that a little? The answer is no, we cannot stretch that a little. The window of opportunity will close. So when we talk about cycles, specifically this one, right? So we had a 9-year cycle. Every person, wherever you are on your journey, you had things that you had planned for yourself. When I say you, I mean your higher self, your soul, your spirit guides, that you wanted to achieve this cycle, lessons you wanted to learn, patterns they wanted you to break. So it was like a little project, those 9 years, right? They were guiding you specifically towards those patterns, so you could see within you specific wounds, specific trauma, specific behavioral patterns, specific automated behaviors, so you can notice. So they would send you lessons, they would send you people to either illuminate this within you or help you to walk this journey, right? Sometimes we can have karmic relationships with friends, with people who through this more of a brutal way will illuminate certain things for us. Sometimes we can be sent those angelic souls, people who can help us, healers, good friends that can support us on this journey. So they orchestrate the environment for those 9 years for you to complete your lessons. What kind of lessons you're going to have, how many lessons you're going to have, this will depend specifically on your journey. People who are on a spiritual journey, on a journey of awakening, they're light workers, they're starseed, however, it's just labels. They tend to have more lessons, right? Basically every month of our life is packed with lessons, because ain't no rest for the wicked, right? But most people, you may have one lesson to learn, you may have one pattern that they want you to break, and they will constantly try to show that to you. Now, as the cycle is ending, the last period within that cycle will always be very intense. So when we talk about 9-year cycles, it can be the whole final year. And this is what we've experienced for this cycle. The year of snake, the year of shedding, the year of realizations. It was a very intense year. Because as we approach, it's sort of a wheel kind of a cycle, as we approach the ending of that cycle, again, obviously when we're going to be talking about 2-year cycle, it's not going to be the last year, it's going to be like 2-3 months of that cycle. But 9-year cycle, we had that last year that is this energy of like, all right, let's go. What was it that you did not manage to learn? Let's crank it up. Let's give you more signs, more lessons. Let's make it more intense so you can close that cycle, because we want you to progress. We want you to jump on the next level of this human game, expand your consciousness, become a better person, it's just a label, closer to the frequency of your authentic soul. So this is usually when more lessons appear, when it gets more intense, when it gets heavier, right? And when we hit that moment, when that cycle closes. So for us in this case, it was when the new year started on February 17th, when we talk about specifically those 2 9-year cycles that we're sitting in, and we're starting a completely new era. We are being placed around those dates in what I call that waiting room. right? That waiting room, and I've given you guys in the past the analogy with a waiting room on a train station, right? But you're in this waiting room and you're still not yet sure, your guides are not yet sure which door to open for you. So this is that last final period, those last days, those last weeks, again, depending on the length of the cycle, that the lessons just get so deep and so heavy and so difficult, because they really want you to let go of certain things, to release a chunk of your karma, to learn lessons, to break patterns, to have those realizations so they can open the highest, most possible door for you. So it's that waiting room when you are under review. It's like preparing for a test and actually stepping into a room when the test is happening. Now, once that is over and you're ready to exit the waiting room, you are going through this process. What happens in that waiting room is a death and rebirth. Again, for most people on the planet, this whole thing I'm talking about is going to be subconscious. They're not even going to realize. So what happens is a death and rebirth, right? And there's always something that we learn. It may be minimum, it may not be enough not to repeat that cycle, but there's always something that we've learned. So we go through some sort of a death and rebirth. Again, I've done a whole separate video about why certain people are aware of that, why certain people are not. The more self-aware you are, the more work you do, the more aware you're going to be of these energies. That's why for most people it's subconscious. And we go through this death and rebirth and we become new us. There is certain things that we've let go of, that we surrender to, that we've released, that chunk of that karma, right? And now as this energetically new being, we are starting a new cycle. But that first period, just like the last period of a previous cycle was intense, this as well is a period of preparation. I like to call it an incubator period. So we're already new, but the new us is not yet ready fully to go out there, to connect to a specific timeline. There's still certain things that can be tweaked, that can be learned, that can be released, right? So in that incubator process. And this is exactly what we're sitting in now when we talk about the current 9 to 9 cycle switch. We are sitting in that incubator process because we already started new year. We already knew us, but we are still in the last month of winter. So until the equinox, until March 20th, we are sitting in that incubator. So we are still preparing to be the new us. And this is the moment of decision. This is why it's so important. You can go ahead and watch that video, where this comment was from, which is my Monday's video about the energies of this week, where I've explained that we're given an opportunity to see certain things with clarity, with calmness, with acceptance. We're being sent more signs, more guidance, more synchronicities to really decide, this is who I want to be for those next 9 years. This is really who I want to be. And in those moments, I always highlight to you guys that this doesn't mean that in those last few days, you have to do everything, right? You have to apply for the job. You have to reach out for the person that you love. You have to break up with the karmic partner. But we talk about energy. So we talk about decisions. What is it that you want for those next 9 years? What is it that you want for the next cycle? Who do you want to be in that next cycle? In your very core, in every cell of your body, I want you to feel it. No, I won't go back to certain things. No, I won't go back to certain people, right? No, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to go towards. It's a final decision point. And if you won't manage to see certain things, to realize certain things, because again, all those last months were intense, and this week is where we can see it with clarity and with calmness, when we can really land on that idea, who we want to be and what needs to happen in the next 9-year cycle. Do you believe that things can happen for you? Do you really deem yourself worthy of those things that are waiting for you worthy of those things that are waiting for you on that dharmic path. Are you ready? Right? And if you are thinking right now, okay, if I didn't manage to do that, we cannot stretch that, what is exactly that's going to happen? We cannot stretch that because we had enough. The entire last year was a year of shedding, was a year of realizations, dark nights of the soul, awakenings. Again, it's going to depend where you are on your journey. And those last months since October, it was so intense. It was really everyone, the spirit teams on point, watching at you, just trying to push you towards where you need to go. So we had really enough time, and now it's time to collect the fruits of our labor, those of us who've done the labor. So to really connect to the right timeline. So if you've done the work, if you've released, if you shed, if you learned your lesson, you're going to connect to a higher timeline. You're going to connect to a next cycle because you've expanded as a human being, because you've expanded your consciousness, because you've become aware of certain things, because you put the finger on you to do the work. Now, what happens when you didn't notice certain things, when you didn't have the courage to let go? You will just repeat the cycle, but the cycle will be completely different. So how I like to explain this is, imagine your higher self and all your spirit team, your spirit guide, specific soul, someone who's guiding you, your angels, your ancestors. We all connect to different souls and beings, right? They with you, they looking at you as you live your life. And again, that cycle was like a project. So now they're thinking, okay, this was our strategy. This is the lessons that we send. We send her help, or him. We send angels. We send potential healers that they could work with. We send light workers. We send harsh karmic lessons. We send guides. We send guidance. We send synchronicities. They're not seeing it. We got to change strategy. For the next cycle, we got to do it differently. So this is why for most people, sometimes it doesn't seem like repetition, but the core lesson is same. So I'll give you 2 examples. If you, for example, in that past 9-year cycle, you had a very difficult karmic relationship. Maybe it was even abusive, full of turmoil, very hard, very difficult. And your lesson was to realize the base of law of attraction. We attract what we are the vibration of. And I've explained this in many videos. It doesn't mean that we attract same, but something within us, a wound that is vibrating on a low frequency, attracted this person who was vibrating on a low frequency. So if you didn't manage to realize, I attracted this person, I accepted this person, there's something within me that didn't feel worthy enough to let go, to fight for more, to have more, and you didn't manage to look inwards, to take accountability, but you would only shift the blame towards this person because they're crazy, because they're narcissistic, because they're this and because they're that, you have failed to learn your lesson. So does this mean that they're going to send you the exact same person or worse? No. You may, if you've managed to leave this person, you may stay single for the next 9 years. You may be connecting to partners that will seem like they're better partners. They are better people. But the core wound that you did not know this in that previous cycle, they will try to show you this wound in a different way, through different people, for different means, because apparently the last strategy did not work, right? Another example is that if you, for example, still are in a karmic relationship, and the plan of your soul was to exit this relationship and start something better for yourself, but out of fear, out of loneliness, out of lack, you are refusing to leave, or a job, for example, right? So many people, and I always say this to you guys, it's a trickster energy when karmic relationships are not actually harsh and abusive, because we always look for those excuses. But he's a good man, but she's a good woman, but we really built something. Maybe we can give it another try, right? and you stayed in that relationship knowing that it's not your person, knowing that it doesn't feel right, it must be a karmic connection, just knowing that it's not someone who sees your soul, you stayed. You failed that lesson. So in the next one, they need a new strategy. So they're going to introduce new elements into your environment. Maybe you're going to have more triggers with this person. Maybe there's going to be a third party that's going to try to pull you or this person out of this relationship. Maybe there are going to be new discords and disagreements. It's going to get harsher. Maybe not on an everyday basis, maybe not all the time, but it will get heavier. Because ultimately, if your soul decided to do certain things, the job of your spirit team is to get you there, is to show you, hey, listen. Some people resist until the very end of their lives, but our guides will always try to help us. Universe always supports us. So if you didn't manage, what's going to happen? You're going to repeat the lessons, depends. Is it one or a few? But it's going to be in a whole different way. The strategy will need to change because apparently the previous one did not work. So this, as always, long explanation. You know me, but I hope it was helpful. If you still have any questions, let me know. And magical period until the March 20th. If you want to know how to use it, watch my Monday's video. Let's go. We can do this. We can all collectively start a new cycle because it's time. It's time to build a better world for ourselves, for future generations. It's time to build new earth. It's time to claim what is our birthright. It's time to thrive. It's time to release. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. This is too good to be true. I have to pay back for all the gifts that I'm receiving. No, it is your birthright to be healthy, to be loved, to love, to be abundant, to live a life of purpose, to do things that you love, because your passions, your loves, what you're magnetized towards, it was not placed in your heart for you to suffer. It is a guidance. It is a compass for you to actually claim what is in your heart, whether that's a person, path, passion, feeling, whatever that is. It exists in there as a guidance of your soul.